Thank you all for a good crowd this morning. Appreciate you coming in. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the post this morning, did it? No, nothing at all. Got a good crowd on Zoom also, so thank you all for jumping in on Zoom. Can anyone on Zoom hear? Can y'all hear me? Yeah. It'll be better once the HVAC shuts down because it kind of muffles everything. Good. Thank you all for coming this morning. I want to do something real quick before I get started and recognize the ALC members that have made it this morning, if that's okay. First, I'm going to recognize, is Brittany here yet? Nope, not yet. She's coming. Marlene Mass, she's also going to be your culture club chair. She changed it to the culture club. It's actually the culture committee, but because of her post, she is now the culture club. Nate.
Because committee sounds like there might be work involved. Club sounds like we're gonna have a really good time, which we are. So I say, let's go with the club.
I agree. Nancy, where are you, Nancy? Nancy, where Nancy? Nancy. There you go. And let's see. And I'm being bad, Nancy. You and Brittany are doing growth committee, right?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, her and Brittany Fishback are doing the growth committee. And Mallory? Mallory and Brian are doing our tech committee. That's so much better. Can you all hear better on Zoom now? This HVAC is shut down? Perfect. All right. So Aaron, I'll monitor this during the panel. Okay. All right, so we're gonna start off, if this works for me. Is it gonna work? Not gonna work? Nope. Went the wrong direction. Oh my gosh, this Apple thing. There we go. So Bailey and Wood, they're sponsoring today's meeting and lunch. And they brought something and left it here on the table. I don't know. I guess we're gonna figure it out. Are we doing that first or last?
Let's do it last.
Last?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to collect cards?
Yeah, that'll be great. So we're gonna collect names of people that are here and do their giveaway. But right now, if you'd like to introduce your crew, and we'll give you a few minutes. Thank you, Bailey and Wood. Thank you all very much.
Okay, fantastic. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having us here. Appreciate it. My name is Ed Warrington. I'm one of the regional managers for Bailey and Wood. And we've obviously had a relationship for the past few years. And one of the things is some of the changes that happened with your organization, that with ours is we really only had like one person covering your office. And as we started to talk, we just said that it doesn't really seem fair. You guys have a lot of agents, you do a lot of business. And really what we wanted to do was have more of our team in to cover you guys and really provide you with exceptional service as we kind of move forward. And so that's what we did. We brought some of the others in throughout here. Yep. So that's Mike. That's our owner. I don't know if you guys have seen Mike in here from time to time or at some of our different events that we actually hold. The name Bailey and Wood. So it's Mike Wood. Obviously, is his last name. His first name of his daughter is Bailey, and her middle name is Ann. So Bailey and Wood. When he actually founded the company and had to go and incorporate everything, that's the creation of the name. Myself. Kevin's one of our other regionals, and Ryan as well. You guys can put your hands up. Then we have Scott and Brooklyn Sailor. Scott over here, Brooklyn, I just saw you. Yep. This is Kalina and Emma. They're part of our marketing team, second to none, you guys. So like a lot of the different things that we do and really what has been our secret to our success is partnering with the best real estate agents and really helping you guys focus on your business. That involves a ton of marketing. These guys are second to none. So with our LOs, with our marketing team, collaborating with different events, different charities, all kinds of different things that we actually end up doing together. And that really has catapulted our business. And then we have Mr. Steve Hostetter, who covers both the offices as well. Did I miss anybody else?
Carly.
And Carly is not here. Carly's fantastic too. I think she's been in the office a time or two, but not here today because she actually had another meeting set up. So anyway, so that's that. as far as what makes us unique, a few different things. I've been doing this 29 years, as I told Aaron and Ben, and it's like, I've kind of seen it all. I was head of national sales for this yellow and black brand. So I've been in every single real estate office, I feel like, across the United States. That's not, the newer ones, maybe not, but stuff from dating back all the way through 2000. So I was responsible for 106,000 real estate agents, and their production. So I've lived and died by what you guys do, incorporated, mortgage into the world, because let's face it, you guys sell homes, most homes are financed. So having to have financing and having to, avoid those bumps that come along the way with some financing and with some transactions has been key. And so that's what we like to do, is really talk to you about, hey, how do we make your life easy? Why partner with us, right? We all have product that's out there. Some similar. We just rolled out, and these guys will be talking to you more about it. 100% FHA product. Yep, you heard that right. 100% financing for FHA. Fantastic product for a lot of buyers that are out there in today's world, that need that additional, can't come up with 3.5%. We're rolling out a renovation product, that is coming here shortly. We're rolling out a, second HELOC, HELOAN type product, that'll be out. And we've also rolled out construction to permanent, which is another product that obviously has been big, over the last, few years. So a couple different things that make us, unique to some of our competitors. Also, one of the things that we like to pride ourselves on is that we actually take the loans, take the applications you get, and we actually underwrite almost every single file before that offer comes in. So we call them TBD underwrites, for whatever you guys want to actually name it on your side. But in today's world, you're facing so many different things of variable income, right? That's an hourly pay that may not have consistent hours. We see it all across the board like this, especially in the northern and southern parts of Indiana. As we see it, a lot of factory, a lot of RV, seasonal type work. So we run into that often. It takes a lot of the pain out of the transaction, because you don't run into that last minute hurdle that you have to jump over going, oh, they don't qualify. Now what? So that's one of the things that we like to pride ourselves on. We also pride ourselves on our turn times. I mean, we don't go around and I see people post this nonstop on Facebook or Instagram, like just closed a loan in 21 days. And I go, rock clap for you every time. Our average time is 14 days from application to loan cleared to close. Now, most people aren't closing in 14 days, but that's our average, right? We like to say, hey, no matter how quick you need it done, we're going to get it done for you guys, right? There's the compliance levels that you have to go within. But if you have that pressure or deal falling apart, let us get a look at it. Let us try and help you. Let us save the deal. Let us be your saving grace and help you, gather the next transaction for yourself. So that's kind of like some of the important things that we do. We want to talk to you guys more and more through some different trainings. We were up here a couple weeks ago, and we were talking, and it was Ben and Isaac, myself and Corey, and we were just kind of talking about some of the pitfalls that are going on in the business right now. It's getting really interesting, right? You're seeing insurance carriers pull out of every market across all the different states, which is making homeowners insurance another obstacle that we all have to face in our business. So different things of that, writing the sales agreement and some of the different things that go into it and what can be some of the challenges. And so we just want to get in front of you guys, talk to you a little bit, whether it be one-on-one, whether it be, lunch and learn environments, whether it be Zooms, whatever works for you guys, because we know, like, obviously a lot of people don't come into the office on a regular basis anymore, and we want to make sure that we touch you. But we also, at the same time, want you guys to have our names and numbers so that they're up there, so you can reach out at any time. Reach out to any of us. Obviously, more of the local folks are going to be, the Steves, the Brooklyn, the Scott, Kevin, Carly. They're here in Fort Wayne every day, but never hesitate to contact, the marketing team if you guys are putting on an event, need suggestions. Easier to have one of our loan officers there with you, or Ryan. It doesn't matter, reach out at any time. We like to pride ourselves on, we get the answers quickly. And that's something I know that you guys are always up against. And it's like, hey, can you look at this income? I have a loan. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Get it into us. Let us look at it. Let us help you guys and make you guys look great. So that's what we're focusing on. We actually had a really good year in 2023. We're hoping 2024 is even better. Because, you know, when you look at the industry and some mortgage lenders were all 60, 70+%. And we were in the 20s. So that was something we prided ourselves on pretty big, because we didn't want to, you know, sit and look at it and say, hey, man, that was a really crappy year, because we all kind of felt a lot of that pain. So we're looking for 24 to get back to, you know, probably 22's numbers and then go from there. We're tending to think that the third and fourth quarter are going to be really big this year. We hope, you know, that we see all that sooner. We're starting to see purchase volume, you know, kick into levels that you typically don't see until later in the season here. So I think we're all off to a pretty good start. So I think, you know, as we all grind away and get back to basics, I think we're in for a good year. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for having us. Thanks for the partnership. We enjoy it. And, yes.
I'm just gonna say one thing. My name is Angie and I'm with Partners Title, which is Keller Williams Title Company. I deal with hundreds and hundreds of lenders on an annual basis. And Bailey and Wood is by far the easiest lender from a title company standpoint that we've had to deal with. They're timely, they're quick for, you know, as far as response is concerned. Their packages are very easy, and I love the fact that you overfund $5,000 to give them from leeway. Nobody else does that.
Did you guys hear that? It's something that we always do. We don't talk about it probably enough, is we overfund and we early fund every loan. So we typically will fund the loan 24 hours before the closing date. We overfund $5,000 just to make sure that that loan isn't short, and so that you guys aren't sitting around at the closing table waiting for funds to disperse.
So they are amazing. So there's my testimonial.
Thank you.
Good job.
Appreciate that. Any other questions? Thank you for your time again. Appreciate it. Business card, we neglect, we are giving away a pretty nice TV. I mean, so, we'll find pass your cards around.
Oh, sorry, not working, not working. Yeah, everybody gathers it. You got that, Mallory? You want business card?
I want my card.
Huh?
If you don't have a business card, rip up a piece of paper, put your name and. Will you pay for it there? Okay.
It's not going. All right, let's continue as we hand out the cards. I'm always gonna pop up that, the Y4CCTs at every team meeting. I'm gonna have to get about 6 or 7 flamingos for the office.
What?
Flamingos.
Hi, Brittany.
I'll explain. Does anybody remember what the flamingo was used for at my previous market center? Yeah. Oh, wait, we get to recognize Brittany now. Brittany Fishback she's partnering with Nancy for your growth committee on the ALC. Thank you very much. So the Y4C2Ts, of course, are our belief system, and Marlene and Tiffany. I'll wait. See, so Marlene and Tiffany being the head of your culture club, right? Club, not committee, right? Marlene? Right.
I like club better.
They're gonna be the ambassadors for our Y4C2Ts, which is our belief system that we all should follow individually, but they're definitely gonna be our ambassadors for that. Has anybody here never seen the Y4C2Ts before in the brokerage? I don't assume the Bailey and Wood people have seen the Y4C2Ts. Everybody seen them? Would anybody say that they've had a moment they could talk about would be a Y4C2T moment that you'd be willing to talk about? Like a win-win, integrity, customers come first, commitment, communication. Anybody have to step back and look at all sides to figure out a situation instead of being reactive? Did you do that? Teamwork, trust, equity, success through others. Anyone? I could talk about all of them, actually, I think.
I'll give you a win-win.
Go ahead, Forrest, thank you.
We have a condo, or not a condo, a villa in Autumn Ridge. And they, did the comps, and there was a property next door. That went for 450,000, but the house, the villa that we had wasn't as updated. But I told them if we listed it at 417, we'd get 450 for it. Well, there was an attorney that was trying to get the property, he offered my client that he would do all the paperwork, wouldn't charge any fees or anything like that, if they would sell him the property. And they said, no, I think we're gonna stick with Forrest and Time. So they said, you call him. So he called him. And he wanted to go in early. And he said, you know, you'll get both sides, can you help me with this? I'm like, well, we'll show you the property, but it's gonna go on the market. So we showed him the property, and he offered 420,000. And per Indiana state law, we had to present the offer. And they were kind of thinking about taking it. I said, trust me, you don't want to take this off. So, we need to get both sides of it. I said, that's not the point. The point is getting you the most money I can give this profit. And I can give you a lot more for this profit. They said, okay. So Sonia and I put it on. And we probably had 40 people come through. We ended up with 15 offers. And the attorney that offered him 420,000 knew that he was in trouble, and he offered $485,000 with $100,000. They trusted us, we trusted them, and it was a win-win. And we ended up getting both sides of it.
Nice. That's a great story. Thanks, Forrest. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Real quick on what Forrest said, sorry, my brain goes like this. When you do comps for villas and condos, you only do comps villa to villa, condo to condo, even though they're in the same category. So,
Well, the villa that was next door was the village, so, with the village, so.
Okay, well, thank you. And Lee, thank you.
Oh, by the way, it only appraised for 460,000, but he had $100,000 appraisal gap on it.
So he was coming. Thank you, Forrest. Anybody else have, what I like to call a Y4C2T moment they want to talk about? Yeah, Bailey and Wood, you're allowed also. I mean. Frankie's got a secret.
No, I guess it was involved like the teamwork aspect of things, of like having like partners that you work well with, like so vendor, like lenders, inspectors, things like that. So I have a couple, I did a walkthrough with, a client and went down in the basement and was able to call Blake, FaceTime him, Evans from MPI over the phone and like ask him a question about the basement. And then I also was able to get a client of mine, actually through an appraisal. She was working with someone else already, not appraisal, I'm sorry, approved. She was working with someone already, just wasn't really playing out. But I was able to get her in to one of my people, and got her approval letter last night, and we'll be ready to up an offer today. So I think like in teamwork, not just with other fellow agents, but just being able to like have a team behind you that helps us to like get you and your clients to the closing table, I think is important. So just the importance of teamwork, and I like that Keller Williams has that with our agents, but also with our vendors.
Yeah, that's awesome story. Thank you, Frankie. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
I piggyback on that. I actually, this morning, Bailey was being here spitting, just texted Stephanie Vincent this morning and was like, thank you so much for being like such a fabulous resource and such a fabulous lender, because I'm doing a deal with another company right now that has just been And it was like, you just don't know what you got until you see the other side of it, and you're like, okay, wow, okay, I see that this is different, so, yeah, thanks, Baileywood.
Now we all know who the other company is. Just kidding, just kidding.
Hey, Ben,
Sir,
just gonna jump in, with this teamwork.
yes,
This is talking about, everybody knows Mal is amazing, and she stepped up and put some work in with some new social. I was doing a bunch of videos on site and things, but anyway, first open house. I turned the key and somebody was right behind me, literally opened the door. And if we started talking and this, you can be my patient, they've already pre-approved all 300. And I said, oh, I didn't see, that's why you're here. And he said, yep, so come back to Mal. I said, thank you.
good, that's awesome. Thank you, Mal. Yeah, anybody needs command help, Mal. She'll definitely help you out. She knows her stuff.
Mallory is awesome.
She really is. She made Forrest and Sonny realize how easy it was to do their documents through command yesterday. That was awesome. This is actually a picture of Aaron when he was younger, a couple weeks ago. But these are all of our February birthdays. So please reach out if you see our birthday post on our page. Please reach out to that agent, tell them happy birthday. That's always nice to get a birthday text from people. So please reach out. Anybody get a good picture of that? So we can look good, look good. Work anniversary, Brian, their only February work anniversary. Way to go, Brian. February newcomers. Kelsey Farrell, who's actually on as admin for Brian. That's Brian Farrell's wife. Brandon. I say Brian all the time. I gotta quit that. Brandon Farrell, sorry. That's my fault.
Remember, let's go Brandon.
There you go. Not the same context though, I'm sure. Jesse Herendine, he was literally an agent that walked in the doors and said, hey, I just passed my license and I want to join your company. But
Literally, that's what happened.
literally, that's what
Literally
happened.
walked in the street.
Just walk in and said, hey, I want to join the company.
Good job. He was smart.
Yeah, and he's already connected with our coach Brian, and his neighbor is listing a house and buying another house. So he's already got business. That's pretty awesome. Leia, it's not Leah, it's Leia, like Princess Leia, Lad. Newer agent, she's on Zoom, so everybody say hi to Leia.
Hi.
Cassandra Brown, I think she was in the system.
She was already an agent, so
She was-
she's part of our Cedar Lake crew.
Yeah.
Up near Chicago, so she was a TC admin and now is licensed and doing her stuff up there.
Yeah, that's awesome, awesome. And Natasha Ward, she was actually referred to us by, an agent in Franklin, Tennessee. She lives in the area. And she interviewed 6 or 7 other brokerages and decided that Keller Williams was the one for her. So she's joined and she's also already got a piece of business to talk about. So that's,
They're all already moving and shaking.
yeah. Oh, and there's Leah saying hello to everyone. Leah, I did it. That was me. I'm terrible. I'm terrible. All right, everybody loves Jonah Hill. Let's do 2 bucket fills. Anybody want to fill a bucket? If you don't know what that means, is you're just giving kudos and thanks to somebody. They don't have to be in this room. They can be anybody you like. Do we have anybody that wants to give a bucket fill? Sailor.
Your title is a
Yeah.
rock star. We had a deal with a veteran called, I was actually playing golf with Caleb. I
Yeah,
got the call, referred to Caleb, hey, can you help them? They're in Key West, they live in an RV. They were going on a cruise, getting back from the cruise, so she had to schedule mobiles with them, mobile with the seller. I never heard 2 words about it, she handled everything, so thank you for making us sweet.
that's awesome. Good job, Andy. Thank you for sharing. Ford.
I would like to tell you, thank you of all these folks. How glad we are. You are the missing piece, the missing piece of the puzzle.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you saying that, but I love being here. All you guys are awesome. So that's you guys. It's not me. I'm just coming here and smiling and talking with a weird accent.
Just say thank you.
Thank you, Forrest. I appreciate it. So I'll slip you that 100 after you we get done. You got a bucket fill, Marlene?
Yes,
Me?
I agree, totally agree with what he just said, because like, you're like managing all of us and all of our personalities and still manage to make it very personable. And that's not an easy role to be in, and I appreciate that a lot.
Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Aaron Boone.
I was gonna get the bucket filled in, until he was cracking on me on the screen.
No, that wasn't that. I was saying it was this Aaron.
No, I echo Ben too, I feel like you've increased the cultures, the level of culture that we have around here, not that anybody in the past as well, but I mean, you can definitely tell like the uptick of, participation in, social media, like the in-person, it's been like seen.
No, well, thank you very much. And the social media is all like Isaac and Mal and Amanda, they're doing a super job with the social media and all the new posts and graphics and stuff. So they all look great. They look amazing. And I love the ones that came out today also, and they've already been shared. Rocky's already shared his, by the way, that you posted this morning. So that was awesome. So thank you. I appreciate you all a bunch, but this is not a Ben Bucketfield day. Let's hear it from somebody else. Anybody else? Aaron?
Phil, James Reeser Bucklet for organizing and putting together the Super Bowl party we're having here on Sunday. By the way, everybody, vendors included, you're all invited.
Mhm. Yeah, we got a slide for it coming up in a minute. Oh, you're fine.
But the Super Bowl board is looking a little empty
A
out
little
there.
sparse.
Yeah.
So $25 squares, all the money's getting paid out. Bring a side dish or an appetizer if you can, you don't have to, office is gonna have pizza, maybe Tony dogs.
Euchre.
We're gonna have a euchre tournament, games will be going, we'll have other games as well.
You gonna teach the Southerner how to play euchre?
Yeah.
Okay, you'll sign it. Okay. Doors open at 5. And, the board he's talking about is just around the corner, right out here on the wall. And it's got James's Venmo to send the money to. I don't know if he's gonna let us have it. I don't think he even show up. But no, please, jump on that Super Bowl squares board. Another bucket? I saw another hand up. I'll go quick. I don't like to take away bucket fills. Anyone else? All right. We love Jonah Hill, don't we? Rocky capped this month, so congrats to Rocky. We gotta get Rocky a new picture, don't
We do.
we? Yeah.
I can,
It does.
He needs one holding the belt
That's
up.
right.
Really.
All right, so our $1 Million Club from January, we got Caleb and Stacia, the Carey team, Brandy, Rocky, and Angie Ricolta. So congratulations to them. It's a big move. Aaron, I'll let you give the profit share news from last month. Go ahead.
Profit share news from last month.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so this past month, January, we profit shared over $18,000, which is the best profit share January we've had in the history of the company.
About 50%. About 50%. Yeah, so that's a huge amount. That's on all you guys and everybody in the room. So congratulations. Great job. Tech committee. What? What's wrong?
Nothing.
You look,
So Brian and I are in the tech committee, so we're having our first meeting Monday, February 12th at 2:30, which will be available here in person or via Zoom, because it's the tech committee. Our first meeting is gonna be about, the initiative that we're gonna have weekly command tech training on Mondays after he does Ignite. So that'll be something that you'll be able to do weekly now. So we're gonna talk about that and then anything future upcoming stuff that the tech committee wants to do. And then the list of names is everybody in our 201 club right now. So congratulations, everybody there. It gets checked monthly. Just remember 201 is your goal, 201 plus is your goal for contacts and command. If you need help with contacts and command, please let me know.
Why is that important? 201, what does that represent?
do you want to say it, Mallory, or anything? Can you say it? So they did numbers, Keller Williams is good at looking at data. And the data showed that people that have anywhere between 201 contacts in their database to 1,000 contacts in your database, their average GCI was $119,000 a year. Mind you, that's not just put them in there and then set it home and people are gonna start calling you. You know, we understand that, right? So if you have a minimum of 201 contacts in your database and you're reaching out to them on a regular basis, these people are earning $119,000 of GCI on average. Once it dips below the 200, your 100 to 200 club was 54,000 in GCI. So we see the difference in that one little bit of jump. Of course, as it goes up, anybody's got 3,000 plus in their database, and you're hitting them all the time, you're looking at around $250,000 in GCI. So when I talk about this, the first question I ask is, does anybody in here want to make money?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's hand did not go up. There's 2 hands. Okay, there's 4 people that want to make money. My Lord, nobody wants to make money. All right, so I won't talk about it anymore. Nobody wants. If you ever want to make money, the 4 people that want to make money in the room, call me, we'll have meetings. Well, we'll have the money making seminar, all right? But seriously, if you put these people in your database and you reach out to them on a consistent basis, 36 touch plan, at least the 12 touch, once a month emails, and you're contacting them by phone every quarter, you're gonna make money. I mean, well, I would say it's simple, but it ain't easy, right? It's simple, but it ain't easy. Thank you, Mallory, for that. So do we need to keep this over? Do you want to say it again?
201 plus contacts.
Thank you. Okay. Harmony, Katie, you're here for a minute. We'll give you a couple seconds. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Everybody.
Well, I just wanted to highlight the listing services again. I know you guys have heard me say that the last couple meetings, but we've had a few utilize it and I think it's been really fun. I don't know if that's the word that comes to your mind when you think about listings, getting those inputted. So if it isn't, please let me know. I'm enjoying doing them. And it's just, I've been taking pride in just making them look really good. It's been really fun. So yeah, let us know. That will be right to our listening requests, form. If you want any more information or want to talk or have any questions, just come find me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we all know family reunions into this month, right? And everybody's going, right? Everybody, Pressler's yawning. So if anybody has any interest in family reunion and going or has questions, again, does anybody here like making money? Okay, there's more people now. This one's good, more people. It's a good way. It's an investment in your business. It really is. If you haven't gone, if you don't have tickets, you can still get tickets. But you're looking at Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Gary Keller on stage for 1 ticket price in 4 days. I mean, if you don't walk out of there at least a little extra motivated and a little better disciplined and with knowledge to get at least 2 more closings a year, then you slept through the whole family reunion. It's going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to help you get there. I think Mallory has a question.
I don't have a question. Lisa.
Yeah.
You have want to go to Vegas and have not bought your ticket yet. Please get with me. We do have a ticket that we need to transfer, and that includes a hotel room in the Mandalay complex. So please let me know if that's of interest to you.
Okay. And if anybody has interest in registering for family reunion, right there's the QR code. Good. Who in here's been to family reunion besides me? Who has been to a family reunion? So Scotty P, what was your experience at family reunion like? I want to ask one person.
I look back at the first one that I went to, I just remember all the colors, it seems like it was colorized, but I mean, the culture is just amazing and no matter how big you think you are, like there's somebody that's doing it at a way higher level. And it's just little walk away, little nuggets of information and what people are implementing and doing in their business.
Yeah.
Very motivating.
Yeah, and you get into breakout rooms with people, there's tons of classes, plus what's on the main stage. And then you get to, rub elbows with people from all over the world that, like you said, are doing things differently. And they're growing at a different pace and a different level than you are, so it's always good, even if you just sit down and have lunch with new people you just met and just learn. You know, like Rachel here last week, you know, counted 25,000 people in 3 years, she's learned how to grow her business to a $30 million business. You know, that's pretty impressive. But then you'll go talk to somebody that did the same thing and now they have a $150 million business. And how did they do that? You know, that doesn't mean that everybody here wants to be that big, but if you learn how to get to your next level from that person, that's huge. Huge. But to grow, what do we say, Aaron? You gotta get, to get bigger, you gotta get in bigger rooms. You know, do you wanna be the biggest agent in your neighborhood? Do you wanna be the biggest agent in Fort Wayne? Do you wanna be the biggest agent in Indiana? The level you wanna grow to, you gotta get in that room, grow to that level. Does that make sense? And there's no bigger room than this one. There'll be 18,000 agents there.
You won't be the same when you come back. I always compare it to blowing up a balloon. It gets stretched out and let the air out of it. It's never the same again.
Yeah.
When you come back, you'll feel like you're doing everything wrong, but you'll also be inspired to maybe implement and try some new things. And even more so than becoming a great agent, you're gonna learn how to grow a business, a profitable business worth owning through being in a bigger room with bigger thinking individuals. And like Scott said, you may go there really proud of yourself, but you'll come back very humble because you'll always encounter, engage, mastermind, and learn from people there who are doing it at a much, much higher level.
Yeah, that's very true.
Everybody should go at least once. And if you're really committed to being learning based and having a business worth owning, which may, like Rachel, her goal is to own an organization and totally remove herself from production. You can do that at this company, and we will show you, create the path, and show you how to do that. But the only way you're gonna figure out how to do that is by surrounding yourself with other individuals that are doing that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's very true. Thanks.
that's why I go back every year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you always take something different away every time you go back, which it's so good. So thank you for that. We're gonna move on again. I'm gonna try not to play this little video, but I would like for everybody to pull up your phones and just take this QR code. This is gonna subscribe you to the KW Command YouTube channel, and they put new videos on here all the time. So it'll teach you tidbits about command. There's a ton of other videos on there. It's great information. Everybody got it? No. Did you get it, Marlene? Forrest, did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You got it? Oh, still try to play it?
Stop,
Yeah. I love his t-shirt though. That's the t-shirt that I'm gonna wear at the mastermind, by the way. If you go to the Real Producers Mastermind, I'm wearing the Skull and Crossbones KW t-shirt on stage with the mastermind.
And then everybody, if you wear like your KW stuff or wear red for anybody that's going, just so we can prevent. Thank you.
Cause I'm gonna be super nervous up there, so I'll probably tell a lot of jokes. There's a couple events coming up if you're interested in them. Profit Camp, again, anybody like to make money?
Yes.
It's funny, it's different people every time I say it. So Profit Camp, it's $99. Maximize your influence with negotiations with Molly Fletcher, $2.99. Spring masterminds, and if you want these, let me know. I can get them to you again, because I'm gonna skip through them so we have plenty of time for the panel. And Coaching Skills Camp is awesome. And these are also fast track programs. You can hit this QR code and get access to these classes as well. These are all from MAPS Coaching. And I'm zooming through. That would be for us, Aaron, if we want to do those 30, 60, 90. So you can scan there to get access to all those classes right there from MAPS coaches. See no phones, moving on. So we got a free class on how to grow your profit share tree. Anybody like free money, we don't have to work for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, I heard a few yes, nobody's super excited. Let's just scan this one. Linda McKissick is the number one profit sharer in Keller Williams. She's earned $16 million in profit share. She gets, I think her gets $750,000 in profit share in 23, and her husband got $560,000 in profit share in 23. So, and that's her son, Prescott McKissick. They do a great class on profit sharing. So if you're interested in it, absolutely take that class. Agent financials, we just taught the class here. And win with sellers, that's also an amazing class. That's gonna be offered at the region level also, if you wanna go to Chicago, or you can pay $50 and do it here. And I'm sure we'll also have it, in the Market Center live a couple of times as well. New books. Anybody interested in a Shift commercial book that doesn't have one? Would anybody be interested in a Shift commercial? Nope. Okay. I think I'm good. Don't call people you're not supposed to. All right, we talked about this Super Bowl party. Here, we're starting at 5 o'clock. Is that what you said, James?
Yeah.
Doors open at 5. And we've got the $25 squares. Let's fill them up, have some fun. Everybody's invited. Are we allowed spouses at least? I know James's spouse is really excited. My spouse is really excited about coming. Super excited, like she's picking out her outfit right now.
Which team?
Yeah. She probably roots for the Chiefs because she likes Patrick Mahomes. But she could care less.
Say Taylor Swift.
No,
Add a 0 to the payouts first and second quarter, I believe that's 250 is the payout first quarter, 500,
Oh.
second quarter, 750 for third, and the
that got attention right there.
final score is $1,000 payout, so you don't have to be present to win, but see James about buying a square, it's only $25.
And if you don't know, it's completely random, so you don't have to know anything about football, you pick a square, then at the party, we'll draw the numbers, and if the score coordinates with your square at the end of the first quarter, second, third, and final, then you win the money, just completely random. fun.
Game of chance.
Yes. Good, well, thank you, and thanks for, help, putting this all together, James.
Yeah.
And Angie, did you help with this too, am I right? No?
I think it's been a big help.
Isaac, James, Isaac, so thank you guys for putting this together. So what I've learned is that people don't want to make money or get free money, but they like to gamble money. We see where the excitement is, right? All right, so, yeah, oh, this way. All right, I think this is also James. No?
Okay.
It's,
Maybe
maybe it is.
This kind of only KW agents and vendors, the past several I've done were agents from all over Fort Wayne, so we're just gonna make this Keller Williams and vendors.
Okay,
A lot of fun.
Poker night, doors open at 6:30. Is that right? Or tournament starts at 6:30?
Heather Bolton talks the most trash. True story, right?
Watch. Watch and learn.
And that's okay.
See?
All right, so everybody be there. It sounds like if you don't play, at least know and watch Heather talk trash.
Well, I wouldn't call playing.
What? I'm sorry, I didn't, what?
I wouldn't call playing.
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 Poker.
Poker.
Yeah, someone said you wanna watch Heather talk trash, I said, well, I wouldn't call it playing.
Oh, that's so funny, so funny. I did talk so much trash to James Reeser one year, and, I took it out. So, you beat him? Nancy Weaver beat him, so.
There you go. All right, so is this your graphic, Isaac, real quick here?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I like it. Who here does not know what bold is? Do not be afraid to raise your hand. Okay, Angie doesn't know, and it's okay for like Angie to take it. It's okay for Bailey and Woods people to take it. It is a class that, I like to call it like a real estate boot camp. Would you agree with that, Aaron?
Sure.
The real estate boot camp. It's a 7-week course. The first day is gonna be, right now it's scheduled the first week of April. We're actually trying to get that kicked to the second week of April, because I think we got spring break the first week. And it's 7 straight weeks, 1 day a week from 9 to 2:30. $799. The average Bold student, if you participate in Bold as it should be participated in, gets 11 pieces of business during Bold. So you're learning systems and models, you're learning how to run your business, you're learning how to budget your business, you're learning how to lead gen, and you're making a ton of money in a short period of time. To the point, I mean, I know a woman that took this course and she cried because she had so much business, she couldn't handle it. She went from like doing 5 or 10 deals a year, and she got 13 under contract during Bold. And she was in tears, like sucking her thumb in the corner, I don't know what to do. So, well,
The only problem with Bold is that it doesn't last 6 months.
yeah, you're exactly right. Bold will prepare you for your business, whether you're a brand new agent just getting in it, whether you're a seasoned agent. The best agents in the country take Bold every year. I've known people take it 20, 25 times. It's an amazing class to take. Highly, highly recommended. On the backside of that, if you take Bold, you complete and graduate Bold, on your first 4 closings after, we will pay you back 25% of your Bold fee. So you'll get $200 back on your first 4 closings after Bold that you get from Bold. So essentially, you're gonna take it for free. Does that entice anybody at all to take Bold? Again, who likes money? Okay, it gets less every time. But if I told you you could write me an $800 check, and I would write you a check for $50,000 8 days later, who would not take that deal?
Yes,
Okay, one. One,
Not-
two. Yeah, who would not take that deal? Yeah, I did say that, didn't I? You're right. Thank you. So I highly recommend everybody to take Bold. We have to have 40 people to take Bold. We can have people outside the office, outside agents can take Bold also. They're more than welcome. So any questions about it, we'll know our instructor this week. And we'll probably start getting registration sites and stuff out for it. So I highly recommend everybody take Bold. Like I said, you guys can take it. It's a business lead gen class. It's not just a real estate class. Does that make sense? All right, thank you. That's all I got. So we're gonna jump on to the panels real quick. I know we've got our highly esteemed Scotty P and our talented poker player Heather Bolton as panelists, and Lee is gonna lead the panel. Are y'all seeing the IAR website?
Yes.
I'm asking Zoomers, are y'all seeing the IAR website? Okay, making sure y'all see.
I hate that.
I know, that's what I put it up for. On Zoom, if you do have questions, go ahead and put it in the chat box, we'll try to catch it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I feel like the teacher suffers.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Now is the boring part of your meeting. I don't tell jokes and I don't give away stuff, so. All right, we're gonna start off with, if you're not familiar with the IAR website, it's very, very, it's a great website. A lot of information if you go under their legal section. You can always review the residential form changes again. I know we've already gone over that, but they've got some videos on topics, some of the most popular topics that agents ask questions about. And so we're gonna go watch video number 6 for buyers exclusive agency contract. So that's what we're talking about today.
that, so I can go like refreshing into that. This will not Facebook. This was the Windows device that sharing.
I will post that. Sure. Okay.
Buyer's exclusive agency contract brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors Department of Legal Affairs.
The buyer's exclusive agency contract is arguably the most valuable form in the IDR form library. Unfortunately, it's probably the most underused form. Why is the form valuable for you, the broker? There are several reasons. One, it will prompt you to discuss agency relationship, which is required under the Code of Ethics and Indiana license law. Two, it sets the expectations for the services to be rendered by you. Three, it clearly establishes the payments to be received by the broker for those services. Four, it provides an opportunity for you to charge buyer a retainer fee. Five, it presents buyers from going to a different broker. Six, it ensures that you will receive commission in the event of a successful transaction. And finally, it can be used by the buyer in the purchase agreement to request that the seller pay the buyer's contractual obligation, i.e. agreed upon commission to the selling broker. Let me explain each one of those in further detail. It will prompt you to discuss agency relationship which is required under the Code of Ethics and Indiana license law. Standard practice 1-13 states in relevant part, when entering into buyer-tenant agreements, realtors must advise potential clients of the amount of compensation to be paid by the client, the potential for additional or offsetting compensation from other brokers, from the seller or landlord, or from other parties. Any potential for the buyer or tenant representative to act as a disclosed dual agent, listing broker, sub-agent, landlord's agent, etc. The relevant Indiana code site is Indiana Code 25-34.1-10-11. It sets the expectations for the services to be rendered. Section A, of the buyer's exclusive agency contract states what duties the broker will provide the buyer. The form also clearly establishes the payments to be received by the broker for those services. As required by the Code of Ethics, as well as any consumer protection laws, it is required that a consumer, in this case the buyer, know exactly what they will be paying for in return for the services they will receive. The form also provides an opportunity for you to start a buyer retainer fee. This is especially relevant in today's market, where out-of-state investors are asking brokers to do things like visit multiple properties and video them, and do several other tasks, often without ending with any complete transaction. The form also prevents buyers from going to a different broker. I believe probably every broker who has worked with buyers has had a buyer go to another broker to write an offer for them after you have done all the work in finding them a property. This is likely due to the fact that consumers do not have an understanding of how co-op commission is structured. The form also ensures you will receive commission in the event of a successful transaction. This is why the exclusive buyer broker agreement will prevent the buyer from going to another broker, because if they do, and your agreement was in place, you may still be entitled to the commission the buyer is legally contracted to pay you. Further, an existing buyer's exclusive agency contract may fend off any recurring cause claim made by another broker. It can be used in the purchase agreement to request that the seller pay buyer's contractually agreed upon commission to the selling broker. Many of you know that the Code of Ethics prevents the broker from trying to change the amount of co-op offered in purchase agreement. Standard of practice 16-16. Realtors acting as sub-agents or buyer-tenant representatives or brokers shall not use the terms of an offer, purchase, or lease to attempt to modify the listing broker's offer of compensation to sub-agents or buyer-tenant representatives or brokers, nor make the submission of an executed offer to purchase or lease contingent on the listing broker's agreement to modify the offer of compensation. Code of ethics applies to brokers, not buyers. So if the buyer is in an exclusive broker agreement, and that agreement calls for the buyer to pay the broker X% commission, but the co-op being offered by the listing broker is a different amount, the buyer may, in the purchase agreement, ask that the seller pay the contracted amount of commission to the buyer's agent. This way, the exclusive buyer-broker agreement makes the commission negotiable between the buyer and the seller, and not a matter between the listing and selling brokers. When should this form be used? Ideally, the buyer's agency contract will be presented to a buyer as soon as you start to work with the buyer. Other things to keep in mind about a buyer's exclusive agency agreement. Standard practice 16-9 says realtors, prior to entering into a representation agreement, have an affirmative obligation to make reasonable efforts to determine whether the prospect is subject to a current, valid, exclusive agreement to provide the same type of real estate service. With regard to the term or length of the contract, it should be reasonable. As is the case with any service agreement, if the length of the agreement is unreasonably long, it will likely be thrown out by a court. Keep in mind that having an exclusive buyer-broker agreement does not mean that is your buyer for life. Secondly, as a broker, keep in mind you have duties under the terms of the agreement to diligently perform real estate services for and act in the best interest of the buyer. If, for instance, a buyer is unable to get a hold of you to set up showing appointments, or if you fail to respond, the buyer could allege a breach of the contract, and if successful, have the contract invalidated by a court. The buyer's exclusive agency agreement must be signed by the managing broker to be effective, just like a listing contract. If you change companies during the term of the agreement, the buyer client remains the client of the brokerage unless agreed otherwise. If the buyer does have another broker making offer on their behalf, and the transaction closes, the proper person you should pursue the commission from would be the buyer, as the buyer is the one who contracted to pay you commission. This would be a contractual issue to pursue in a court of law. If, during the term of the exclusive buyer-broker agreement, the relationship between you and the buyer deteriorates, both parties can mutually agree to terminate the agreement.
Questions on this form may be directed to the IAR legal hotline at 1-800-444-5472, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
What was that?
She was a bundle of fun.
She's our IAR legal representative, so.
Yeah, they keep us go through. Lighten it up a little bit.
Being an employee of Will State, will the contract hold water if it actually does go to court?
I would think so.
Well,
It's a contract.
the only reason I know, the thing is that you're an employee of Will State. So an employer has the right to fire anybody that works for them without having a reason. They don't even have to have a reason, they can just fire you.
Right.
It's a
but they're not-
contract, though, it's not employment.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the contract isn't setting up an employment? The contract's not setting up an employment?
No, it's a contract.
Okay,
There's a legal binding enforceable agreement between the
Okay.
parties, so. But that read through it, we need to understand it, because there are duties that we are to perform on behalf of that client per the terms of that contract. And if we do not perform it, we're in breach, that would allow them out.
I understand that, I just wanted to make sure, because being an employee of Will State, I didn't realize that there was a separation of it, because I thought this contract was working.
The reality is, most people don't sue over this because the amount of the commission would be eaten up in attorney's fees very quickly.
Right.
Okay. All right, so in your handout, there is an example of the verbiage that you want to use, how to explain it. So So when you are getting ready to submit an offer for your buyers to purchase, and the BAC that's posted in the MLS is lower than what you did on your exclusive agency contract, that's when you're gonna, the buyer's gonna ask for it, just like they would for closing costs or concessions. So that's the verbiage that you're gonna want to use. That's approved by IAR themselves.
And that's in further conditions?
That's in further conditions, yeah. And so on the second page, that's in that stapled handout, is actually page 8 of 9 of the purchase agreement.
Oh, there you go.
So I've got some questions for our panelists up here. Scott Pressler, Heather Bolton, thank you both for joining us today. They've had some experience using the buyer exclusive agency contracts. One thing, if you've been in real estate for some time, we haven't had to have those conversations necessarily with buyers about paying compensation for commissions. And so with the lawsuits that were out there and sellers saying that they were being forced to pay commissions, this is how you help separate that and that there's an obligation for the buyer to pay your commission as opposed to the seller. So I've got some questions to ask them, and then of course, if you guys have some questions, or if you have experience with the buyer agency contracts, good, bad, or indifferent, we want to hear from you all as well. So you guys ready? Sure. All right. So first question, when do you first talk with your buyer about an agency contract?
So with buyers, I always do, a buyer consultation before I do anything else. And that's when I have them sign all of the documents. I do not take a buyer out to see a house without a copy of a pre-approval or, a proof of funds, and without all of my office documents being signed. So that includes the buyer's agency contract, the office policy, the transaction fee, a couple more that are just one-offs, but that's when I bring it up. I want, if I'm going to be showing them homes, I want them to be aware of all of the nuance and any fees that I'll be charging
Upfront.
upfront. Mhm.
Okay. Scott?
That's definitely the right way to do it. I would say I'm definitely less formal, but you know, if I pick up a new buyer, whether it be just over the phone or referral, whatever, I feel like I try to have a good enough conversation with them over the phone where I'm developing that rapport with them. And I will do what I call a freebie, depending on how that conversation goes. Like, I mean, I had some people last weekend, for example, that inquired about a $450,000 house, and just in the conversation, I felt confident enough that they were a viable person. They said that they were working on their pre-approval, they didn't have it yet. So I could have reached out to that lender, but again, every situation is gonna be different. But I wanted to get in front of them because I just feel like my value proposition is, like, I want to be in front of them and I want to get to know them. So I guess I try to take a little bit of a more personable approach. And then at this point, I've kind of decided that I'm going to kind of take it on a case-to-case basis. If I feel like, if someone is saying things that to me are red flags, like, you know, I've been looking for a long period of time, or I've talked to other realtors or whatever, if there's anything like that, then yeah, we're having that conversation and I'm going to get something in writing. But with these particular clients, once I met them, and you know how they say, you know, Sport Lane's a small town or a big small town. I mean, we ended up having like common people that we knew, and so the rapport was there, and so I focused on that. And so you know, I think as we get to a point where we're gonna write a contract, then I think I'll have that conversation, like, here's what I'm normally paid, and here's the document that will be part of the purchase agreement documents, and explaining all that stuff. So I definitely will be doing it in both ways for now.
Okay, thank you. All right, so have you had experience with buyers that maybe weren't so open to signing a buyer agency contract where they have some objections?
I've not. I've never had a buyer push back.
I mean, my most recent one, it was just part of, you know, the documents that they signed, and, you know, we had a conversation, and I mean, there was a lot of negotiation that ended up happening after that, but up front, no, they didn't.
Does anybody else have any experience with buyer agency contracts and a buyer not wanting to sign? Nope.
I don't know if I've ever had like people not end up signing it, but like maybe just asking more questions of like why they have to sign. Like, probably more of that, but eventually, like, they've always signed it. So that, I've never had anyone be like, no, I'm not gonna sign it. I think Nolia has run into a couple people that have been like, I'm not gonna sign it. We ended up closing the house with them, but I think they just like having the control factor, but Nolia's pretty good at like reeling them in, so. But it's more just been like a longer conversation to make them understand, like, well, this is why you're signing this. So.
I think what I've focused on is the commitment level. It's like, you know, if you want me to be available for you, and that you're basically beckoning call to go see this and run around and do all this stuff, you know, I want to make sure that, you know, that goes both ways, that we have a commitment, you know, to each other.
So I think also just educating in that moment too, because a lot of consumers don't understand how we operate. And so, you know, we've all, I'm sure, had somebody call us on a listing and say, hey, I want to see it. I'm just calling listing agents to see homes. I mean, I just had one, a couple weeks ago call me on one of my listings, and what he had done is he had called every single list agent and scheduled out his entire day to go see houses with different agents. And so I think that it should get a better deal that way. Right, exactly. And so I think that it's the education piece that this really can open the door and say, okay, what I'm doing is able to negotiate on your behalf. You know, like I'm working on behalf of you and not on both sides. Where obviously sometimes it happens on both sides, but I think it's such a good education tool, to use.
Did he sign it?
No, I did not show him the house, no.
Oh,
No.
So in the buyer exclusive agency contract on page 2, the whole top half section, I would recommend reading through it and getting to know that verbiage well, because it helps promote and explain what it is that you as a buyer's agent does. Those are the kinds of confident conversations that we have to have with our buyers, is this is why this is so important. It's a perfect time to perfect your pitch. So securing buyer agency agreements requires a more focused discussion of the services brokers provide, the value and assurance added to the life-changing journey to buying a home, and the time you invest and the client's time saved. So it may mean preparing for your buyer consultations, more like a listing appointment, practicing and refining your pitch. What sets you apart? What's your value proposition? But this exercise pays off in a stronger, more confident brand for your business. So it gives you that opportunity to talk about you specifically, and the value that you can bring to your clients.
Lee, I have a question. Okay, so this is saying in here that we can't, like, it says what motivates the party to buy or sell a property. But in our office policy, don't we address that in our office policy that they can give us permission to say that?
Yeah, you can get permission, you just need it in writing.
Okay, so that would cancel this out?
It would just cancel the E out.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can't share that information without that client giving you approval. So just like the opposite for sellers, your seller may be willing to accept a lower price, but you have to ask them if that's something that you can share with agents or other buyers. Yeah.
I'm afraid to get to this, but I think it's so important, like moving forward, that you make sure that you track your communications with your clients.
Yes.
And like and the best form is gonna be in the form of an email, because I had an arbitration recently, and I think there was some discussion around like even screenshotting your text messages, like there's no necessarily proof that says that person's name, but it could be a different phone number.
you have to put their cell phone number in, and if you have to copy it off after the fact, you can put their cell phone number in the correspondence.
What do you mean?
Instead of their name, have their
If
phone
you're
number.
having to use text messages
If
as
you have
proof
to,
of
yeah.
something, you know, you need to have their phone number, not their name.
But you
their-
can change that before you print it off, you don't have to have it there initially. If you have to go to court, just call me.
Definitely not.
Just get stuff in writing, make sure you can track your communications, improve things if anything would ever go south.
I mean, the takeaway is save your text messages, save your emails, save your communication. It will save, right, Aaron? It will save you in the end, because those things are gonna help support your story, help support.
I would say another best practice would be, because we all want to negotiate certain terms in a phone conversation, it's just a lot easier to move quick, at a much quicker pace than email back and forth. So a lot of times we'll just call the agent, like I'm a big advocate of picking up the phone and calling people. But afterwards, whatever it is you guys discuss and agree to, follow up by putting that into writing in an email. Hey, per the phone conversation we just had, both parties are in agreement of this, whatever the case may be. And I say that because I've been burnt a few times by not doing that, because then it becomes, should the deal go sideways, it's hearsay. It's, we had a phone conversation, and this was my perspective of that conversation, and theirs may be different. So follow up by putting that into writing, can be via text, like everybody said. My preferred method, like Scott, is via email. And just recap that phone conversation and ask them to reply confirming that. And if you have that, if things do go sideways, it's gonna present your position and whatever that is, arbitration, mediation, or case, much cleaner and much easier.
Very good, okay. All right, so how would you overcome your limiting beliefs? Or did you have limiting beliefs when you were first talking about this, and how to present that to a buyer?
It's definitely a difficult conversation when you're, asking for money, basically. And, I think you just have to show your value proposition. And, I know whenever I've done listing presentations in the past, I always like to try to compare myself to, like, when you're looking at buying or selling the most expensive asset that you typically own in your life, what kind of person do you want to be working with, and comparing yourself to a banker, an accountant, all these, people that are providing significant service for you, and you're amongst that level. And so showing your value and what you're going to do on their behalf to accomplish their goal. And, one little thing that isn't done right could cost them thousands of dollars, And so I think just setting yourself up to compare yourself to a licensed professional.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I'll piggyback right off of that, is that I think that sometimes in this business, we don't see our own value proposition. And I think that that's so key, is that we say, like, oh, I'm a realtor. And it's like, that's kind of a big deal. Like you said, you're helping somebody with what is probably the biggest asset that they own or will own. And we just want to brush it off like it's not a big deal. But I've been on the other side of things where I've gotten contracts from agents that were completely wrong because the agent didn't know. And I had to go back to that agent and say, I don't think that this is what you meant, because if it is, then I'm taking every single appliance out of this house. I don't think that this is what you mean, because you left off a zero. Like these are huge deals. And so I think that when you see that happen from agents that just haven't had proper training, you can come and you can have a better value proposition and say, had that been a different agent on the other end, you would have been taken advantage of, and you would have found yourself in a lawsuit with your own agent. And that's kind of a big deal. And so I think that you have to know your value, and then you do have to treat it like a professional relationship. I actually just had an agent from another company contact me this morning and was like, hey, I want to contact this agent about a listing they have coming up, but I'm scared that they're going to steal my client. And I said, well, first of all, they would never do that. But second of all, you should be using this document because of that exact thing. And he said, well, I think it just kind of taints that personal relationship. And to that I say, it's a professional relationship. Even if you have a personal relationship with the person, how much better are you going to look as a professional if you have things that you do, right? You're not just like willy-nilly opening doors.
So I think you have to know your own value before you can overcome limiting beliefs.
And I think one other thing there is, when you're having those conversations with people and if they're, not wanting to pay you as much or pay you less, I think there's, I've had good success with kind of turning it around back on them, and, using some example like, hey, I know you're a school teacher. Imagine going to work tomorrow and the principal pulls you in and says, hey, all the families, the kids, they love you. You're one of the best teachers ever, but starting tomorrow, I gotta pay you 25% less. So if you get them thinking like that, how would they respond to, getting paid less? So that's helped a lot.
Good, thank you. All right, so lastly, what happens, so you have the buyer and the commission that's reported on the MLS is less than what you've signed on your buyer agency contract. So you've submitted that, with a purchase agreement and the seller, does not accept that offer and counters back with the MLS listed commission.
Well, my last one was similar. So the commission being offered was 2. I asked for 3, the way that we're supposed to. They came back at 2.5. And then as we're negotiating that offer, then I went back to my buyer and basically we came up with a number that they would cover the difference. And I got some appliances.
The old barter system, yeah.
I use it for my rentals, so. And I helped them move them out too, so, they were happy.
I have never had a situation where a buyer had to pay me out of pocket. Typically, we just make it up in the purchase price. We've never had an issue with that. I know that you start to get nervous about appraisal, things happening there, but typically, if I ask for it with the verbiage, we do a little higher on purchase price. That does the trick. And then just having the conversation with the agent, like, hey, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because we do have a contract. So if you don't take this or we do lower, then they have to come up with that money. Just being real with the other agent, I think has been good.
So I think the other part with my last one that I did was they told me the price that they were willing to pay my buyers, and we started lower than that. And then, I negotiated that seller paying most of the commission. And then even when they paid me that out of pocket, the buyer, it was still less than what they told me that they were willing to pay. So I kind of felt, and I think like subconsciously they realized that the value was still there, like what they were paying was still less than what they were willing to pay for the house, and it was part of that community.
All right. Anybody have any questions for our panelists?
Just to add, the mortgage side understands that. I mean, exactly what you were saying, Heather, like, if you're gonna put that 3%, it's not gonna appear in that contract. They know that price is coming down.
Yep.
So it's going one way or another. So at the same time, it's all gonna work itself out.
So, Heather, would you say if, let's say you have a client, you have a conversation, but then as you get to the house, it's like, well, maybe they can't afford that extra 0.5%. Let's say 2.5. And you're like, okay, well, we're gonna write a offer to kind of make up that extra 0.5% for me. Do you think that's the best route? If they are like, we can't, like if they're moving from out of state, for instance, or something. Like, I just had some buyers that moved from Colorado, the house that they purchased in 2.5, they were able to cover my extra 0.5%. We talked about it, and they were like, well, basically because of what all I did for them, driving, viewing houses, video tours, all that, they're like, there's value, like that's your value.
Yeah.
But would you say if there's someone that's like, I just can't, I can't do the extra half because of whatever may pop up?
Yeah.
Is the best route to just up the offer, but makes up that difference, or what, how would you?
So that's what I typically do. I think that there can be issues with that because of the appraisal. If the appraisal comes back and then that listing agent's gonna say, okay, well, we're not gonna take less to cover your commission, I think then that opens the door for another conversation. I'm never gonna be somebody that relationship matters most, in my business. And so if I've got somebody, work to the appraisal gets cut and it's because of my commission, I'm gonna give on that a little bit. That's not gonna be something, that's not the hill I'm gonna die on because I care about relationship. So yes,
that is how I typically handle it, if you do not have.
There's no issue with the appraisal situation.
Yeah, and if they don't have the money to cover it, and a lot of times, even if they do, they would prefer it be wrapped up in the purchase price. Obviously depending on the buyer, but I would say that for me, there's always some room. Am I going to have them sign this? Am I going to explain it? Is the expectation up to that stage that this is what we've agreed to? Yes, but I'm not gonna ruin.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of, I mean, I always have all my buyers sign this, like, with the 3%, with the full intention that, yes, I'm gonna get 3%. Knowing that I might not because
Yeah.
situation, because I have one recently where I asked for 3% because it was only 2.5. But then the listing agent informed me, which I thought was the right, because no one will flinch. But basically, the entire commission, seller and buyer side was 3.5. So she only took one, I took the other. So I asked for that, but in my mind, my first time home buyers were like, well, they're not going because of the 0.5%. I tried to help the seller buy it.
Yeah.
So like, yes, I get what you're saying, too, like situationally, you kind of have to, depending on your clients, obviously, that makes sense, but I was just wondering.
I would definitely agree. I mean, you can't be in this business to be singular and say that this is the only way that business is gonna go. And I would say comparatively speaking, like I had a seller that I had already known and then it ended up being a referral. And I mean, the referral fee was 42.5%. I mean, it just sucked. But I kind of went into it like, my goal is I'm gonna pick up other clients from this. And so, through showings, and I definitely have a buyer for sure. And this past open house I did, there could be 6 other deals, like through 3 buyers that also have houses to sell. So I think if you look at like either developing a relationship where they're gonna really appreciate you
Right.
by taking less and
Or making
referring.
0.5% more.
Yeah, and referring you more business down the road.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
What do you think is an unreasonable amount of time to sign for a buyer agency agreement?
Mine are all a year long.
Say it again?
Mine are a year long.
Yeah, I would at least 6 months if
So
not.
you think over a year, you think? I mean,
I think it depends on the client, right? I mean, if you got somebody that, like Scott alluded to earlier, like if you're getting red flags from the conversation, oh, I've been looking for a long time. Oh, I'm, definitely not gonna, I wanna see some first. I don't wanna buy the first, we all know the language that you're like, okay, this is gonna be a long game. Then you put it in there and then there's also on the first page, on 2B, you can put in there whatever you want to. So my contract personally are a year long, and in that 2B, I put in 90 days. So really my contracts are like, what is that, 15 months? So I think it's very client based. I don't think that it has to be a specific thing for each client, but if you've got somebody out of town that only wants to see homes when they come in town, that's gotta be longer than somebody that's ready to go right now.
Anybody else? Nope. All right, thank you, everybody. Thanks, panel.